Greetings, 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 y'all. How y'all doing? Let's see what's happening here. You know, I got to share. You know, I have got to share. And that's what I'm doing right now. Yes, that's what I'm doing right now. Great rising, great rising, great rising. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just sharing to a couple of places, y'all. Just sharing to a couple of places. Y'all, please bear with us, sister, as I get this done. Greetings, Jamie. Thank you so much for being here, beautiful. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. So very much. How you doing, love? Just give me one quick moment. I think this is it. And if y'all would share for us, sister, then I will be every place I need to be. And we can go ahead and get this party started. Y'all know how we do, right? Y'all know what it is. This is Sunday morning. It's about 11 a.m.-ish. It's about 11 a.m.-ish, somewhere around about there. So y'all know what that means. It means this is the MoneyFest Destiny show, and I am Celebrity Mary. I'm out here leading with love, and I'm governed by peace here on the MoneyFest Destiny show. It's the gospel of money because money is your God-given right. It's a different kind of Bible study each and every Sunday at the most segregated hour of the week, 11 a.m. on Sundays. So, of course, you know I come back and I rebroadcast again this same show on Sundays at 6 p.m. and again on Thursdays at 12 p.m. I also have a call-in number for y'all. Hey, Dr. Don. Hey, Kurt. Thank you again for joining. Yes, thank you for joining. I do know you got me. Yes, Kurt, it is time to have church. And Jamie, girl, thank you. You like the fabulosity? You like all my pearls? I'm a girl with pearls today. Yes. Pearls ain't gold. I had to mix it up a little bit because I likes that. You know, I can't just do a little bit. I got to do the most. That's how I get down. Those are the rules. Hey, Dr. Dawn, darling. How you doing, Dr. Dawn Bonte, darling? Woo, y'all, please forgive my tardiness. I did have a little tiny situation to come up that I had not anticipated. Namely, my hair was a mess. I was like, what to do? I can't get my hair together. And finally, I was like, you know what? It's just going to be what it's going to be. And the next thing I know, all this was happening. I was like, what? Girl, I ain't even got to try. I make it look easy because it is. So listen, you know, again, this is the MoneyFest Destiny show. I come on here every Sunday and I cut up for y'all. We cut up in the word. We cut, slice, chop, and kill in the word. We get rid of all the things that keep you bound. We tear down strongholds. We helping you to get free. That's going to be my next hashtag. It's actually not new. I've been using Get Free for a long time. I just haven't used it lately. So what have you done for me lately? Yeah, I'm going to do that for y'all. I'm going to make sure that everybody understands that we are here to get free. So today's show going to be real good. Today's show going to be real good for you. Today's show is going to be real good. Today's show is sheep amongst wolves. Sheep amongst wolves, y'all. I know that the title says something else. That's because I just did a copy and paste without remembering that I needed to change the title. So y'all forgive us, sister, for that. Yes, we is getting free. We is getting free today, Kurt. We are. I know, Dr. Don, I can't help myself, but girl, it was crazy. You should have been there. You lucky I ain't in tears right now. You lucky I ain't come on and say, yeah, I had to redo my whole makeup face because my hair was a mess and I just started crying. That ain't what happened. I was like, look, you got this, girl. You got this. I took heed to our conversation last night and I saw the me that I like, the me that I want to be. And honey, she is loading. Just lay around for it. 3, 2, 1. Y'all gonna see what's up. Y'all know we got a call-in number. The phone number to call in is 669-900-6833. The webinar ID is 766-687-876, and your participant ID is 40, the number 40. You know you got to give me some feedback. Let me know if I'm hitting all the marks that you want me to hit, and let me know what you want me to talk about in upcoming weeks. Make sure you stick around to the end of the show for some exciting announcements about business credit and other juicy releases. Y'all know that my second round of classes started yesterday. I kept saying March 3rd, which is today, but really it was March 2nd. So my bad if you missed it, but don't you worry about it because I got classes coming up again in April. Now, there actually is still time for you to get in on this class. If you're willing to, if you're ready to pay and whatnot, ready to get it popping. Why is y'all what? Apparently there's somebody who don't know me. I'm gonna have to close this one out because that profile, people be bugged out on that profile. So anyway, this show comes with caveats, warnings, and disclaimers. So here's the first one. Don't assume that a person is lying just because you've not ever heard the teaching before now. The opinions expressed are those of the speakers and not necessarily those of the show. All advice given is based on personal experience and independent research by the speaker. So engage at your own risk. Again, today, we are the MoneyFest Destiny show. We solving real problems. And today's topic, y'all, is sheep amongst wolves. Sheep amongst wolves. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you was a sheep amongst wolves? Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of y'all are wolves in sheep's clothing, but that's another conversation for another day. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start by framing this show as we do every week. Each and every week, we frame this show. We talk about the imbalances and the inequities. We talk about the four classes of workers. I know, Dr. Don, they crazy. We talk about the four classes of workers. And again, this week, I'm focusing on the wealthy and the elite because that's where we all are going, right? If you follow this show, you already are amongst the wealthy and the elite. And the reason that you're already amongst the wealthy and the elite is because you've already abandoned your poverty and lack mindset. I know I did. And, like attracts like unto itself. So there's no way that I could be attracting people who have not already abandoned poverty and lack mindset. You wouldn't even like me if you had not. You wouldn't even be able to stand being around me. Yes, Onyx. Yes, honey. I'm doing the most today, girl. So yeah, but if you had not already abandoned your lack and poverty mindset, you wouldn't even be able to take this. You wouldn't even be able to hate watch this show. It wouldn't even work for you. You just wouldn't be able to do it. So this is who we are. We are the wealthy and the elite. Let's go ahead and just make that declaration. And don't make that declaration just with your mouth. Don't say it if you don't believe it with your mouth, because I don't need you telling lies to yourself. But if you're at a place where in your heart, you believe that you are already amongst the wealthy and the elite, then say this here with me. I am the wealthy and the elite, period. Say this right here too. My well-being is assured. It happened when I came into this earth. It happened when I came into this world. So if you believe that in your heart and you said that along with me, you keep saying that, you keep making that declaration. You keep believing in your heart and saying with your mouth, and you shall speak those things that even though you can't see them right now, those things that be not as though they are. You're not waiting on it to come. It's already here. So anyway, this is who we are as the wealthy and the elite. Our children are born. Our children are born and they don't have to complete job applications or work for a living. Our children make up 5% of the world's population, but they share in 95% of the world's wealth. Now, that's not to say that our children are bratty, snotty kids that don't do anything for the other children or for the other people in the world, the poor and the working class, because the Bible says that the poor will always be amongst you. That's what Jesus said. And Jesus also said, Dr. Don says, I've never felt like a sheep. I've always felt like a shark because I am. Girl, that's right. And sharks are different from wolves. Each animal has their own virtue, but sharks are definitely different from wolves, and that's right. So our children, these kids of ours, these 5% that share 95% of the world's wealth, we're not mad. We're not mad to be able to do something to help those other 95% who only share in 5% of the world's wealth. We are okay with that because we know that this is just balance. This is just what the world is going to be like, right? We just don't want to be a part of that shit. We don't want to be amongst the poor and the working class. I would rather help the poor and the working class than be a part of the poor and the working class. I'm just telling you what it is for me. I don't know about you. Girl, don't even get me started on these kids. You know, I had a revelation, and I'm gonna say it on that post, but I had a revelation. Even my responding to my son was me still trying to protect him from the world, still trying to keep him from, I don't want nobody else to say, let me do it, let me do it, let me do it. But you know what? I'm going to take that little L. I'm going to take that little L. My baby, you know, child, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a grown ass man. That's not a baby. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize, son. You was a grown man. You was not a baby. But that's another conversation for another day. So listen. So the wealthy and the elite, that's us. This race thing, y'all know that we're headed to what they're calling a minority majority society, right? Do y'all know what that means? What that means is technically those of us who are referred to as minorities, those of us with beautiful brown skin like this, beautiful dark skin, you know, some of them cocoa colors, those people and us are projected to be the actual majority in this country. Now, I am of the belief that we already are, simply because there is this thing called the one drop rule. There are a lot of people who are passing right now. Even though passing is not a thing the way it had been in generations past, passing is still going on, but that's another conversation for another day. Another thing that's happening, if you're paying attention to what's happening out in the news, this particular administration wanted to change the questions on the census so that they could include more people in their people group and get the brown people to start bickering and arguing with each other about being brown, the brown and black people. They want the brown and the black people to start identifying by their culture and their heritage, as opposed to their skin color, which is the fuckery that they started in the first place. But that's another story for another day. That's another story for another day. You see, what they're doing is they're trying to interrupt the trajectory and the trend that's already that already has momentum and that is already in place to replace them as the majority. The reason that that's important is because words do matter. Words do matter. When we were growing up, we would say things like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That was one of the biggest lies that we've ever been told. Words do matter. You know, the Bible teaches that prophecy has to be spoken into existence. Anytime you see something happen in the Bible, before it happened, someone prophesied it. Someone came along and said, "Thus saith the Lord," and then they told, you know, the king or whomever what the prophecy was, and then the thing would happen. But before it happened, it had to be prophesied. So I just want you to pay attention to what's going on. Don't think that it's a celebration of you and your heritage when these people are saying they want you to identify by a separate people group. We want you to identify by your ethnicity and your culture. That ain't what this is about. They really are trying to break up the block of what they're calling black and brown people. They are, you know, they already going to, you know, today's lesson. Don't worry about it. I got y'all. So the race thing is a big deal. It is definitely a primary driver in obtaining and maintaining wealth here in these United States. That's just what goes down. The way that we get money, that's changed. You don't want the jobs coming back. I know I'm preaching. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I've been saying it for a little while now. You want the jobs to stay gone. You want the jobscape to go ahead and change. You want that to happen because as that happens, there are more opportunities for you. Someone asked earlier today. In fact, I ain't even going to talk about what was asked earlier today. I'm gonna point you back to the live video that Dr. Dawn did a few weeks ago, where off the top of the dome, she said something like, I'm gonna give you 7 ways to make money without having to invest money, right? And she turned around and gave like 10 ways to make money without having to invest money first. She did that. So if you really want to understand how to not just survive, but to thrive in this post-employment economy, as this jobscape continues to, you know, rise and fall, undulate, and go through its birthing pains, because we're birthing a whole new kind of society. If you really want to take that thing by the horns and be out on the leading edge of it, then yeah, you want to know other ways to make money. aside from your job. You're not mad if drivers, roofers, accountants, paralegals, line cooks, cashiers, credit analysts, loan officers, and telemarketers are gone. You really don't care about that because you're ready. You're ready to do the thing that you came here to this earth to do. You're ready to pull your profit out of your purpose. You're ready for that. You are not amongst the new illiterate. You are not amongst the people who can't pivot. You're not amongst the people who can't change, who can't unlearn old information and learn new information. You're not amongst those people. Because again, we are the wealthy and the elite. We are making declarations in our own lives. We're doing that. And because we're doing that, we can't do that and be the illiterate at the same time, the new illiterate at the same time. We just can't. So we're going to talk today about what God has to say about economic healing and financial dignity. Again, if you already haven't, I always remind you, if you already haven't, no, we're not mad about the government shutdown, Jamie. We're not mad when did it shut down again though? I'm child. Yeah, no, we weren't. Okay, she says we weren't. You're right. It didn't affect me at all, to be honest, but that's another story for another day. So I want you to go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Periscope. I'm at Gift to Broadcast. And on IG, I am Celebrity Mary. Please go ahead and like my page, my Facebook page, which is Mary Ellis Golden Hearts Holdings. Okay, that's my page. So we have a foundational scripture for this show, and it is this. And I read all of the scriptures that I read come from the New American Standard version of the Bible. I like that version, plain English. Most recent update, since the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I feel like it's a reliable translation of what we've been taught. So our foundational scripture is Proverbs 22:17. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your mind to knowledge. We're talking about economic healing, y'all. I have said many times that you were born with financial dignity, right? Because we broke down what financial means, we broke down what dignity means, and basically everything that's of value, you were already born with. Dignity is something you were born with. You're worthy of it. You were born with it. But you can't remember that if you don't get past this economic healing, because you've been taught away from that. So when I say, I'm not teaching you that, I'm reminding you that you were born with financial dignity. You can't get to it, though. You won't remember it if you don't get this economic healing. So be open to hearing new information. And be prepared to apply new information, right? So let me tell y'all the scriptures that I got for y'all today. Beloved, let me tell you what's in my heart. Let me tell you what thus saith the Lord, where the word come from today. We're going to look at Matthew 10:5-10, and Matthew 10:16, all right? So we're going to look at Matthew 10:5-10, and we're going to look at Matthew 10:16, okay? So these 12 Jesus sent out after instructing them, do not go in the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter into any city of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. Freely you receive, so freely you give. Do not acquire gold or silver or copper for your money belts, or a bag for your journey, or even take 2 coats or sandals or a staff for you to lean on, for the worker is worthy of his own support. Behold, I send you out sheep in the midst of wolves. So be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. So this is the New American Standard version of that scripture there. But I'm going to go ahead and break it down. I'm going to give it to you how you remember it. I'm going to give it to you how you remembers it from the King James version. Actually, I'm going to do the New King James version because King James is starting to get on my nerves a little bit. All right, King James is beginning to get on my nerves just a little tiny bit. Not for anything that he did, except that the Shakespearean language, after a while, and as you continue to study, well, as I have continued to study, some things, stuff just changed. When things change, things change. So anyway, the New King James Version says, These 12 Jesus sent out and commanded them, saying, do not go into the way of the Gentiles and into a city of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out demons. Freely you receive, so freely you give. Provide neither gold, nor silver, nor copper in your money bags, in your money belts, nor bag for your journey, nor 2 tunics, nor sandals, nor staffs, for a workman is worthy of his food. All right. That's what Jesus said. And of course, that's in red. He also says, behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So let me tell y'all why this is the word today. Let me tell y'all what I got when I was reading this, right? Let's take this little bit by little bit. We're just going to eat a little bit at a time. We're going to eat a little bit at a time. We're going to start with Matthew 10 and 16. So again, this is Jesus talking to his disciples. These are the people who were following him. These are the people who were not afraid to pivot. These are the people who were not afraid to unlearn old information and learn and apply new information. These are people who in their minds were following a guru because they were on a path to freedom. So for us, it was kind of like economic freedom, right? For us, it was economic freedom. For us, it would be, I should say, economic freedom. But for them, it was their literal freedom, because remember, they were being oppressed by the Roman government. They had, again, they are, I should say at this point, in captivity again. Remember that every time the children of Israel went into captivity, it was because they had been disobedient to God. They had not put together in their minds that, God said, if you do some if you do some things that are not what I said to do, if you disobey me, then I am going to punish you. And the way that I'm going to punish you is I'm going to put a curse on you. And everybody knows that a curse is a burden. Okay, that's something. It's like he said he would put a yoke around their necks. So if you know anything about that time, or if you know anything about agriculture, anything like that, you know that these people, that a yoke is a big harness that's put on animals that are beasts of that labor, right? So I'm going to put a harness on you. I'm going to put this big heavy yoke on you, and you're going to have to labor under somebody else. You basically are being cursed when you are, and it's onerous work. It's hard work. When you think about the animals that they put these harnesses on, we're talking about oxen, cattle, I'm assuming camels, certainly donkeys, whatever other animals that were beasts of burdens, the ones that they use to plow up hard ground, because humans are not strong enough to push and pull those plows. So this was kind of like them creating the first version of the what do you call that thing that dries out in the fields and pulls up the earth, right? Say what now? I'm sorry, Dr. Don. I got caught up. You know what happens. You know how I go down. I got caught up. I had to excuse myself. I'm sorry. So anyway, these animals did the work of several men. So what would take several men, maybe days to do, a couple of these animals could do in a couple of hours, in a few hours. So whenever they went into bondage, they were having a yoke, a big burden put upon them. And one of those burdens was that they were laboring under this other government. So think about this. You living by the sweat of your brow. You don't have air conditioning, TV, the comforts that we enjoy now. Oh, well, thank you, Dr. Don. Thank you. I appreciate that. You don't have all of these comforts. Everything you get by the sweat of your brow. So you and your entire family, everybody got a job to do every day. There is no get up in the morning, send the kids to school, you go off to work to do some meaningless task so somebody give you some bread at the end of the day so you can go to the grocery store so you can buy food so you can take home to feed your family. It wasn't that kind of a society. These people were living by the sweat of their brow. They were having to labor or whatever it is that they got. So then when they got their money, they had to pay taxes, not just to the government, the Roman government, which was, the big, heavy, burdensome, onerous kind of, that was the curse, but they also had to pay taxes to their local parishes. So it's kind of like when we have to pay state and federal taxes. If you own a home, you're also paying, the county taxes, and they taking this money so they can provide you with services, right? So, and allegedly, and I guess it's true, the governments, the big government, the smaller governments, they were doing that too, because the Roman soldiers had to eat, didn't they, if they was going to keep y'all under subjection. So you are paying for your own jail keep. You're paying for your own oppression. You're paying for it, right? Because you sending taxes to Rome. Rome is sending soldiers to you. And if you do anything that looks like you might have a little tiny tick with the Roman government, you going to jail. Does any of this start to ring a little familiar to you? Does any of this start to feel like, wait a minute, I think, wait, what now? What you saying that now? Well, anyway, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. So these are the conditions under which these people are living. And these men who are following Jesus now are following Jesus because they see him as the Messiah. They believe that he is the coming God, the coming warrior. They, the Jews up to that time had believed, and many still do. In traditional Jewish faith right now, even today, many do not believe that their Messiah or their rescuer has come. They believe that the Messiah is still coming. There is a sect of Judaism called Messianic Judaism that believes that Jesus was the Messiah. They believe in the New Testament. Most other Jews do not. They don't mess with it like that. They just don't believe. And Gentiles like me don't make it no better. They were not happy with this whole, God saving Gentile stuff. They weren't happy with that at all. But that's another story for another day. We talk about that another time. So these people are paying for their own oppression, right? They're paying for their own oppression. These men who are following Jesus are following him because they believe he's the Messiah. They believe he's going to lead a revolution. And the revolution that they were expecting is one where they basically take out the Roman army, right? And they didn't know exactly how he was going to do it. They didn't know what his plan was, what his overall plan was. But they began to be fed by him. They began to be fed being in his presence. They began to learn another way to be. They began to be taught away from the bad knowledge, the knowledge that was no longer serving them, which is the knowledge that they grew up with, by the way. This was their culture. Judaism is not just the religion of these people, but it's their culture. Remember, they were living by the laws that were given to Moses and the Levites. They were living by laws that had been passed down to them at least 400 years prior. So, there were certain types of clothing that they could not wear, certain behaviors they could not indulge in, certain ways, even with their hair. It was just a lot of different things that they were living with and having to abide by that they had not turned from, because this is how they were raised. So these men were being taught to do something that went against. They were being taught to think about things in ways that they had never thought of before, because they were raised in a particular way, kind of like a lot of us. A lot of us are reluctant to move from the poor and the working class into the wealthy and the elite. A lot of us, the reason we can't believe that in our heart, even though secretly we really wish we had more money. A lot of us can't get past that because we've been taught away from who and what we really are. We have a hard time dishonoring those who came before us, those who taught us these things that they served us at one point, but they don't serve us anymore. There is no way you could be getting this kind of teaching, this kind of information. No way it will be coming to you if you had not cried out in your heart, from your heart, for this understanding. There's no way it could happen. It just couldn't happen, right? Like attracts like unto itself. We just had that conversation just a few minutes ago. Which y'all not listening? We just talked about it. We just talked about this. So anyway, let me just keep going. Let me just keep going. So there's these people are being these disciples. So they join believing that they are going to overthrow the government, right? This is what they want to do. They want their own they want their freedom back. They want the freedom. And Jesus is talking to them from Jesus uses a lot of allegorical and metaphorical language. He used a lot of examples. He rarely, according to the way that these men wrote about him, the way that the words show up in red, Jesus used a lot of examples. Let me go back. Let me go back here to Matthew 10:10. When he says, well, 10:9 and 10, he says, do not acquire gold, do not acquire silver, do not acquire copper for your money belts, right? So that's straightforward. He's saying, don't let nobody pay you. Don't let anybody pay you for telling them, for healing them, for cleansing out, cleansing the lepers or raising the dead, casting out demons. I gave you that power freely. I explained to you how to do this for no charge. So you cannot go around and start charging people for this. Because if you do, you ain't no better than these charlatans and snake oil salesmen who out here robbing people for their money. We want you to get free for real. Jesus is offering the real deal. And he like, it ain't gonna cost you no money. And so he told his disciples, don't get gold, silver, or copper for your money belts, because that's how they carried their money. And don't take a bag for your journey. That's where they would put their food, script, food, stuff like that, their provisions. That's where they would put their provisions. Don't even take 2 coats. Don't take a second pair of sandals. And don't even take a staff. So a staff is a walking stick. That's something that you use for support. That's something you use to help you, you might lean on it when you're talking. You might use it to help you get, climb up a rough mountain. Because remember, they're walking everywhere they're going. They're not driving any hoopties or anything like that. They might get lucky from time to time and get to ride on a donkey, but they're walking everywhere they're going. They following these roads that are not paved the way that our roads are paved. They don't have sidewalks the way that we have sidewalks. They just out here on their journey. They just out here in a purpose, doing what Jesus told them to do. He was like, don't even take a staff for you to stand on, for you to lean on. You don't even take that for support, because the worker is worthy of his support. This is Jesus again using that pictorial language, allegorical language. He like, don't take nothing is his point. Do not take anything. You just got to trust. You're doing God's work right now. So you just got to trust that when you get out on this road, that somebody going to take care of you. When you read the rest of that chapter, when he says, listen, when you get, he told them where to go. Oh, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But when he said, when you get to these cities where you're going, right? When you reach the house of the person who is going to, host you, right? Because, it's kind of like the Underground Railroad. There were people who were also revolutionaries in these other cities and towns who believed that Jesus was also the Messiah. But they noticed everybody can't be the disciples. You got to be in your place. Your purpose is to be the house where the disciples can come when they reach your city, right? So he says, when you get to these houses, when you get there, give it your blessing, give it your greeting. Bless the house. If the house is worthy, give it your blessing of peace. This is how important words are, y'all. This is how important words are. But if it's not worthy, take back your blessing of peace. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? If the house is worthy, if this is somebody, let's talk about what worthy is. Let's look at what worthy is here for a second. Let's just talk about that for a second. So this word worthy is used 35 different times in the Bible. And what it means is having weight or having the weight of another thing, like value, worth as much, right? So if it's befitting or congruous or corresponds to a thing. So what Jesus was saying to them is if these people really are, if they really believe, then you get them your peace blessing. You get them the blessing of peace in their house. But if it's not, if you get in there and you discover that they don't really believe, they invited you in because they wanted to challenge you. Because you got to watch out. Remember, he said you got to be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. If you get in there and you discover that these people was just trying to trick you the way they tried to do Jesus, the way they tried to do Jesus, if they just trying to trick you so they can get you to say something, so they can drag you down in front of the courts, so that you can be tried in front of the courts with your little bit of knowledge. My grandma used to say a little bit of knowledge will kill you. So if they just trying to trick you, you got to be able to discern that. You got to be able to see that, and you take back your blessing. And he went on to say that if any city or village that you enter, right, any one of them, like, well, actually he said this first, when you get there, you ask who's worthy. You got to go find your people. You got to go seek out your people. Because again, even here at MoneyFest Destiny, we understand, listen, we are at peace with everybody. We have no desire to overthrow any governmental entities, no corporate entities, none of that. We at peace with everybody. We just want to get us out. That's it. We ain't trying to do nothing to cause harm to anybody. So if I'm sending you out, if I'm giving you this message, my message to you is find your purpose. Find your purpose. And when you are out looking, make sure that whoever you are aligning yourself with is worthy of your purpose. Make sure they're worthy of your purpose, because that's what these disciples is out here doing. They out here finding people as they travel who are worthy of their purpose. Not just somebody who got a good house with good food in it. They're not being superficial about this, because remember, they can't take no money. They can't take any additional stuff. See, money is for when you want to go fast. But one of the things that Jesus was teaching them is that you got to take your time, and you got to really discern this thing out. You got to really kind of see who's doing what for whom, how. You got to make sure that this thing that you're doing is really a part of your purpose. Is it worthy? Is it worthy of your purpose? Okay. So Jesus said, when you get there, inquire who's worthy, find out, and stay at that house until you leave that city. When you enter the house, give it your greeting, give it your blessing. And if the house is indeed worthy, then give it your blessing of peace. Actually, he said, give it your greeting. And then he said, if the house is worthy, give it your blessing of peace. But if it's not worthy, take back your blessing of peace. Take it back. Take it back. Let's talk about this blessing of peace. Let's talk about what that is a little bit. And then we're gonna move on to another. So it's tranquility, it's harmony, it's accord, it's security and safety, prosperity, felicity, or good tidings, right? It's the way that leads to peace. That's Jesus's peace, the way that leads to salvation, what we know in salvation, right? So Jesus said, if it ain't that, take it back. And I'm sure a lot of y'all can attest. A lot of y'all, I have a friend who had an experience at a place of business. I have a friend who had an experience at a place of business. They were not very kind to my friend and her guests. They were not very kind. And before she left, she kind of looked around and said, don't worry, y'all ain't gonna be here long. And I'm reminded, when I think of that story, of when Jesus looked at that fig tree and said, what good are you? What good are you? And cursed it because it gave no figs. It was not in its purpose. It was not doing what it came to this earth to do. And Jesus cursed it. Some time later, a couple months later, when my friend was in that same area again, that establishment had folded. Each of us has the power of life and death in our tongues. Each of us. And here it is, Jesus himself saying, take back your blessing of peace if the people are not worthy. Right? So he also said, whoever does not receive you or heed your words as you go out of that house or out of that city, shake the dust off your feet as a testament against them. Shake the dust off your feet. Don't carry none of that with you. Let it go. Because remember, you out here with just you. What you got on your back and the word that's in your heart. That's being in your purpose. These men were walking in their purpose. Literally, they were walking in their purpose. And Jesus told them how to handle that little bit of business. And so they did. That's how they handled it. So check this out. Check this out. When he was first giving them instructions, right? Because I missed this part. When he was first giving them instructions, he said, don't go in the way of the Gentiles and do not enter any city of the Samaritans. And I'm going to tell you, I had to pull them two up because I needed to see what Jesus was talking about. Like, what you talking about that, Jesus? What is you talking about? So, excuse me. So hold on, let me get to my place. That ain't it. Oh, I done opened new tabs. Y'all, why y'all let me open new tabs? I had this set up so perfectly. So Jesus said, hold on, let me get back to my place. Okay. So Strong's number G3598. Remember, the G means that it appeared first in Greek, in the Greek language. So you only see the Greek language. Well, you mostly see the Greek language in the New Testament, because the H's stand for the Hebrew language, which is primarily what happened in the Old Testament. That's the language that was passed down. There are a few H's in the New Testament, but primarily is G's, right? So anyway, that's just a little note. That's just a little nugget for you. So, excuse me. Jesus said, excuse me, don't travel in the way. He said, don't go in the way of the Gentiles. Now, if you recall, we call people who follow Jesus now, we call them Christians, but they were not called Christians back then. They were what Jesus was teaching was referred to as the way. That is how they referred to themselves, and that is how they were referred to. They were a part of the way. Okay, so, but here, the way that this is used, it appears in the Bible 83 times, and the way that it is used is, it is talking about how you travel, a traveler's way, journey, travel, and all of that, but metaphorically, it's referring to a course of conduct or a manner of thinking, feeling, and deciding. Oh, I love when stuff like that. I love how that feels. I love when these feelings come up, when we have these conversations and these feelings come up. I love how it feels. I love how it feels. So anyway, so he said, don't go in the way of the Gentiles, right? And of course, I'm like, well, what you talking about, Jesus? Well, who you calling a Gentile, Jesus? Well, let me tell you who Jesus was calling a Gentile. I felt like this was important earlier. I don't know if I still do. Basically, it is a multitude associated or living together. Tribes, nations of people. So Paul used the term Gentile for Christian, right? That's who Paul used it for. I think there was something else. Oh, there is something else that I want to share with y'all. I'm coming. Hold on, hold your horses. Hold your horses. I got one more thing for you. So he was like, don't do what the masses do. Remember when we were coming up and our parents would say something like, well, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off of one too? So it was kind of like that. He was kind of like saying, listen, don't do what everybody do just because everybody doing. This is why he said, don't take no money, don't take no extra clothes. What you're going to do is you're going to do it differently. In fact, I would even go so far as to say you're going to do it the right way. Because the right way is you have to first of all trust, and you have to use the power that's already working in you, the power that you were born with. You have to remember who you were. You have to learn to trust yourself again. You have to learn to believe again that you know what's best for you. You know what serves you. You have to recognize that there are things that you already know, and you don't need someone else to validate it for you. So he was like, y'all gonna go out, y'all not gonna take any money, y'all not gonna do any of that with you. You're not gonna take anything with you. You're just gonna go, and you're not going to behave the way other people do. And he also said, and do not enter any city of the Samaritans. Now let's talk a little bit about these Samaritans, because remember when I was growing up, I remember one of the first Bible stories that I learned was about the Good Samaritan. And y'all remember that story, you know, all these holy men who were of this man's same nation. He was Jewish, just like the man. A man went on a journey. He was overtaken by robbers. He was beaten and left to die. All these holy men passed by this man on the road and left him there. But a Samaritan came along, a man who is, according to the Bible, let me tell y'all who the Samaritans were. They're not particularly religious, and they were not Jewish people per se. So what had happened was, according to the Bible, Samaritans were people, they were offspring of Jewish people, those who you know, came, children of Israel, who after they had won their freedom from different captivities, you know, Babylon had sent, the king of Assyria had colonized these Jewish areas, right? The same way the Romans did back in the day. So they were just about as old as the Jewish people, right? But they were mixed. They were mixed. They were intermarried. They were the people who, you know, didn't leave because the people who didn't leave because they were no longer slaves. Isn't that something? There's some slaves who stayed behind. This is one of the arguments that some of these crazy people trying to make in today's version of slavery, but that's another conversation for another day. I'm not even going to try to get into it. But these were mixed people. These were people who, even though a mother or a father or the grandparents or somebody in their lineage were Jewish, meaning that they followed certain customs, these people were not accepted as Jewish because they had DNA of other people. And they also had other practices and other cultural and spiritual practices that did not align with those of the Jewish faith. So that's who the Samaritans were. You could be a pious Jew, you could be a Pharisee and a Sadducee and have a first cousin who's a Samaritan, right? That could happen. So Jesus was like, look, it's certain people that we got to deal with right now. Trust me, y'all, the day is coming. The day is coming when this thing gonna be for everybody. But right now, we going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We going to our own right now. So in other words, when you go into these cities, go look for other Jews, but look for the Jews that believe that the Messiah has come. Look for Jews, and the way you're gonna know is you're gonna say the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You see, so again, Jesus is he's talking to these people, he's teaching, he's a revolutionary. He is not this passive, you know, oh, come to me, you know, all you, whatever the hell people be trying to make us believe about Jesus. He wasn't no soft dude. He wasn't no weak dude. He wasn't no pampered dude. He wasn't a diva. He was by his business. He was walking in his purpose, and he was willing to die for it. In fact, he died for it. That's how you know he was willing to die for it, because he died for it. And in fact, after he died for it, that's when his disciples finally got it. Dr. Don says all the time, sometimes somebody got to die for you to get what you want. That's how his disciples finally figured out. Because remember, so right after he died, you know, of course, they were depressed. They were sad because, goddamn, they didn't think dude was going to die for real. They surely didn't think that somebody who walked with this man, talked with this man, stayed with this man, sat with this man, ate with this man, kissed this man, would be the one to betray him. But only someone who had done all those things with this man would be the one who could. Only somebody close to him could get to him. Only somebody close to him. So even those people in your life even if you feel like you've been betrayed by someone who should not have betrayed you, just keep in mind that the betrayal is for a reason. The Bible says, and I use this a lot of times, I use it kind of flippantly, but this illness is not unto death. That betrayal is not to kill you. It's to help you. It's to kill off that part of you that is not moving forward. There's a part of you that can't go into your destiny. There's a part of you that can't move in your purpose. There's a part of you that's trying to keep you from moving in your purpose. So even that betrayal, as painful as it felt, as hard as it is to accept, even that betrayal was for your good. Even that betrayal was for your good. So the whole point that I am here to make today is that if we gonna be the wealthy and the elite, and I believe we is the wealthy and the elite. I know I am. I know a couple of my girlfriends is. I know a couple of my dude friends is. Even though, and as we are a part of the wealthy and the elite, right? We got to still be moving in our purpose. We got to be out here sheep amongst wolves. We got to be so wise as sheep amongst wolves that we move the way serpents move. We got to be as wise as a serpent. And so let me tell you, let me help y'all out with that too. So it's wise. So think about a serpent. We talking about snakes. We don't like to think about snakes, but hey, Jesus is the one who said, be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove, right? Doves take off, birds take off. If you come around, if harm comes near them, they take off. Serpents are really good at hiding. Serpents are really good at being stealthy. They're really good at getting in and getting out. They good at getting in, getting what they got to get, and getting on out of there. You may not even know a snake has been there. They may leave some evidence every now and then, like you might find a skin shed someplace, or you may notice that there are not as many small pets around as used to be. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to. So the allegories, just don't let the imagery throw you off. Don't let the imagery get under your collar. Sheep appear to be harmless. And clearly sheep are prey to wolves. And when Jesus was saying, listen, you got to be careful going into these houses because I'm sending you out as sheep amongst wolves. Remember, there are men out here who will, hold on. He said, there are men out here who will hand you over to the courts and scourge you in their synagogues. In their synagogues. He's not talking about the Romans. He's talking about the very people they trying to save. See why I fought with poor people? The poor will always be amongst you. Don't never forget. Tell me that's not a poor mentality. Tell me that's not a lack mentality. There's somebody coming to you to save you. Somebody coming to you go, yo, kingdom of heaven is in hand. And you go, oh yeah, come on in here, bro. Come on, I got you. Here, have some of this stew that my wife made. Ooh, sleep on this soft bed that we got here. I know you're tired. You want, let me wash your feet for you. And before you could sit down and enjoy any of that, guards is at your door coming to take you, not the Roman guards, the ones from the temple, coming to take you so you can stand in judgment in front of the synagogue, in front of the caliphate, what did they call them? The Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they would very happily stone you to death. So you're a sheep amongst wolves. You believe that they sheep too, but really they're wolves in sheep's clothing. Anyway, I feel like my work here is done. I feel like, I forgot to invite y'all to call in. And it is after 12 o'clock. How did that happen? How did that happen, y'all? How did it get to be after 12 o'clock? Oh my God. They say time flies when you're having fun. And honest to God, when I come on and I do this show, I have to be so honest with you. When I come on and I do this show, again, you get to watch me minister to myself. Me and Dr. Don Vonti had a conversation late last night. This was our last conversation. I was like, I want to go to bed with this conversation rolling around in my head. I want to go to bed with this conversation in my mind. We had this book that we were reading. And I said, I'm going to read this. It's going to be the last thing that I read. And then I'm going to go to bed. And she said, well, I'm going to record myself reading mine. And I said, I'm going to do that too. I said, I'm going to do that too. And I did. And I recorded myself reading it. It takes about, I think it's a total of about 8.5 minutes. And I played that while I slept last night. I played it while I slept. And I promise you, everything that I was listening to myself play back, everything that I heard coming back into my subconscious, everything that I said to myself showed me what I am. I receive permission from myself to see myself the way that I really am. And ooh, when y'all see the glory, Lord Jesus, when y'all see the glory, y'all gonna be like, what? Y'all lay around for it. I got it coming for you. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry your pretty little head. We got it for you. But in the meantime, though, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. I want to give you a couple. Now, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to give you an opportunity to call in if you got some comments, if there's something you want to say, something you want to share. If there's an experience here for you today. The call-in number is 669-900-6833. And the webinar ID is 766-687-876. And your participant ID is 40. That's the participant ID. So if you want to call in, you got something you want to share, something you want to say, feel free. In the meantime, though, I'm going to go ahead and give you these announcements. While I'm doing the announcements, if you want to call in, feel free. And if not, then my heart and mind is already clear. So there is still time if you would like to join this session of the financial self-defense classes. Now, if you don't know what the financial self-defense classes are, they started yesterday. And what happens in that class is I teach people how they can get their hot little hands on up to $150,000 in business credit. I'm teaching that class. I made a couple posts on my wall where I asked, do you have as much money as you want to have? I can help you with that. Are you credit worthy? If not, I can help you with that. That's what these classes are about. Remember, I told you we got to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. So if I can teach 10 people and each of those 10 people can teach 10 people and each of those 100 people can teach 10 people, you see how this goes? In 3 generations, we already had 1,000 people who are not only getting the education, but also bringing up to $150,000 into their businesses. What's the difference? What difference would $150,000 make to your business today? If you got, let's say you got $40,000, what difference would $40,000 make to your business today? And what if I told you that if you get this 150,000, let's say you get the 150,000, right? And you're doing it, you handling it well. If you get that much, that means that you got good credit, or you came through my program and I hooked you up. But if let's say you got this 150,000, right? Say you got this, and you handle it well. And the next thing you know, the people who gave you the 100,000, 150,000 come back and say, check this out. I got between 300 and 500,000 for you. You want it? You think you can handle that? What answer are you giving? What answer are you giving? What difference does that make in the life of you and your family? What if you had, let's say you had $150,000 for your business, the one you're running right now. And then you got a strategy that showed you how to take, say, 50,000 of that and turn that 50,000, turn that into 500 stacks, meaning 500,000. Before they even come back to you and say, hey, we got this 300,000 to 500,000 if you want it. What difference would that make to your business? So this is why I am talking about these classes. This is why I'm teaching these classes. And this is why the classes are very small. I want to be able to give people the attention and the time that they need in order to actually be able to achieve these levels. I want to be able to give them the attention that's required for them to be able to get what it is that they need. So this is how it works. If you already credit worthy and you want to use your own credit as a personal guarantor, then I'll walk you through the steps to qualify and begin the process of approval for your business line of credit for up to $150,000. I was speaking with a lady the other day. Her credit is in the 800s. And she's like, well, how much does this cost? And I'm like, I don't have to do nothing to your credit. Why would I charge you anything? I'm just going to walk you through the process. That's it, right? That's that situation. Now, if you already got good credit and you want to do this, I'm going to just walk you through the process. Ain't no charge for me. I ain't charging you nothing for that, okay? If you're not quite credit worthy or you don't want to use your existing credit to qualify, and that's really my recommendation, then I'll walk you through how to build up a new credit profile just for this process so that you can qualify and begin the process of receiving your business lines of credit. up to $150,000. If you're not quite credit worthy and you want to use your own personal credit to qualify, then I'll walk you through the steps to rebuild your personal credit so that you can qualify and begin the process of receiving your business lines of credit of up to $150,000. You'll also be certified as a financial self-defense credit coach when you complete the course. When you complete this course, you're going to be asking, you're going to have a new problem. One is going to be, you got to figure out how to maintain and manage all this money. But the other thing is going to be, do I really want to keep this to myself? Or can I go ahead and use this information that I just got to save some other people, maybe even start a business with it? That's what's going to happen. I am telling you now, that's how it's going to go down. It's going to happen. So if you're interested, you can inbox me for more details. Please follow instructions. I said inbox me for more details. Don't call me. I have to do this in a particular way because I get a lot of inbox messages, so don't be getting offended. I know just about everybody on my page. I'm close with, friends with, done broke bread with, got a relationship with just about everybody on my page. So don't inbox me. Don't call me, inbox me, and just let's just follow the process. One of the things that's going to happen is in this process, you're going to have to follow my instruction. Let's just go ahead and get trained on that right now. Just follow my instruction. Just inbox me. Speaking of inboxing, if you are hearing this message for the very first time and you have not said anything to me before, we have not interacted on any posts. We have not built any kind of rapport with each other. You just like how my makeup look, whatever it is. Please don't inbox me unless you want to know about this particular program and you about ready to go. You don't have to be ready to go today. I recognize that people got to get their money together because yes, you do have to pay for this. I don't run businesses for free. So yes, you do have to pay for this information. So if we've never interacted before, and your business, your reason for interacting is not any business that I have going on, namely this, then please don't inbox me. If you want to talk to me, stay on my wall, right? Stay on my wall. I had to have this conversation. Well, I didn't even have the conversation. I have memes now that I just send to people if they're not acting right. And if they keep trying to talk to me, then I just market them. And I know that that's an ineffective strategy, but to me is as disrespectful. Like throwing my marketing in somebody's inbox is just as disrespectful as someone coming into my inbox, talking to me about how beautiful I am. I got eyes. I can see. Trust me. Okay? Thank you. So anyway, I'm just saying. If all hearts and minds are clear, then I am going to go ahead and end this broadcast. I love you all, and you all are so pretty. But it is after 12. I haven't broken my fast yet. I would like to get myself something to eat. And not just that, I got other stuff that I need to do. I need to follow up with my students from my most recent class. My students from yesterday, I need to do some work for them. I also have, by the way, another class that I'm beginning in April. And this class, so in addition to the financial self-defense, this is the Golden Voice class. So there are some people who would rather be in the casket than given the eulogy. There are some people who who are not as effective at speaking publicly, whether it's about themselves, about their job, about whatever. There are some people who are not as effective as they can be at public speaking, and they don't have time to, do a, 14-week Toastmasters class. They don't have time to, drive for 30 minutes to get to the place, to find parking, to do all of this stuff, go in for an hour, have the conversation. There's 25 different people. You may not even get to speak that night. So you got to drag it out and maybe you speak at another time. You got to write these speeches. You got to do all of this stuff. I've been in Toastmasters. I know how it goes. No, nothing against Toastmasters now. I'm not saying don't do Toastmasters. I'm just saying I am doing a workshop, and it's a 4-hour workshop, one shot. I promise you, I will help you to become a more effective speaker in that 4-hour workshop than you will be if you had gone to a Toastmasters class. I'm just saying. So if you want more information about that, if you want to understand how to give an elevator pitch for your business, if you want to uncover why you even have that fear. If you want to talk about, if you want to learn how to answer the question, what do you do for a living? If you want to learn how to do that, or if you want to learn how, well, what do? You want to learn how to answer that question? I'm your girl. You want to come to my class. You want to do it. If you want to know how to go on live on social media and talk about your business, talk about yourself, promote whatever it is that you need to promote so that you can get your bags, I'm your girl. So inbox me for more information, and I'm happy to share it with you. Well, that's all for today. I love each and every one of you guys, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peace.